Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another live segment. We are going to do an unboxing here today of a brand that you should at least know the name, and hopefully by the end of this, you'll be a lot more familiar with the brand altogether. My name is Santana. On this channel, we talk about all things watch related, and I appreciate you tuning in with me. I hope you had a great weekend. If you didn't, it's Friday, so hopefully you have a better weekend. Wise is the name that we're going to be talking about here today. And here's the deal. I heard about this brand so many times prior to getting the watch into the channel. And by the way, this is a sponsored live stream because they did send me the watch in. I don't have to send it back. No money was exchanged, and there was no script for me to go off of. I had to make my own script, if you will. And that's always going to be the case because you guys know the deal with me by now. You know that you're going to get the truth. I don't embellish. I don't exaggerate. If they don't like what I have to say, then that's too bad. But I'll tell you what, I spent some time with the watch. This is not a true unboxing. I still wanted to do the unboxing with you guys in that kind of format because it's because of your generosity and your support that I'm able to do these type of things. So just know that I've been enjoying the watch behind the scenes because I had to. I've heard too many good things about it. I had to experience it before I could speak about it knowledgeably. Makes sense? Lone Ranger's in the building. Hi-ho, Silva. Crazy lust for the G. Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. And Trap Vision is lurking. So it's on your guys' wrist. That's how I knew about the brand. And let me show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Before we do that, we'll go here. And these are wrist watch checks from Watch Enthusiast. A lot of people have been wearing this watch, purchasing this watch, saying great things about the value for money. So I had to dig deep and see what was going on altogether. A lot of people say a lot of good things. And here's a bunch of wrist checks from them. So after which that they sent me the watch in, we're going to do this unboxing. We're going to find out ourselves. This is pretty much almost going to be a review as well. I might do a little bit something after as a recorded type of thing, but I know enough about the watch and I've experienced enough to talk about it in a very smart way. Robert Wood is in the building. He says, good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. How are you? So that being said, let's cue the video that I had for you guys for B-roll. What did he just say? B-roll. As I go along with the Eric Mack, hello, I see you. I see you're in there as well. So let's cue this B-roll. Now, what you're seeing here is the actual assembly that Wise does. And they're a Thailand watch enthusiast brand. They started in 2008, so they're effectively 17 years old. Wise is designed by Thai designers and hand assembled, and that is exactly what you're seeing here as the footage goes. Most commonly known for their 904L stainless steel that they utilizes in most of their watches. And they build their watches to order. So that minimizes the inventory risk and preserves cash flow on the business end of it. However, it also enhances quality control and customization. Assembling per order allows Wise to respond to customer preferences more effectively. It does make sense. We are going to look at the website so like that you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about as far as customization options go. I think that's a fantastic thing off the bat. Now, you may be waiting a little longer for them to assemble the watch. I think they effectively get it under 2 weeks, and then they do express shipping when it comes to your purchase of the watch. But I have to say this. I do like that they do this because it gives them more control over the whole aspect of assembling the watches and having dust under the dial. And like I said, you can get customization options. Therefore, if you change your mind before the watch is shipped out, they're not so upset and aggravated because they have people on deck constantly putting and assembling to the orders. Jose, you're not late to the stream, bro. You're actually just on time. I started a little early. How are you? So aside from that, I want to do the unboxing at this point, guys. I want to get right into it. We're not going to waste any time, okay? So this is how the watch comes in the box itself, okay? Now, I was fully impressed with the packaging that we're getting here. So we have our traditional little sleeve just to protect the outer boxing itself. We have branding on the top here. That's their logo. Wise is the name, and that's their traditional W logo that they utilize here. Nice black box. We're going to take this off. We're going to take this box out. And I'll tell you what, man, this was very impressive packaging. We're going to keep in mind the price point. We're going to talk about that at the end because first we have to see the value, but already we can see some nice packaging. For sure, your watch is secure if it's in something like this. They even had branded logo on this wooden box. Nice hard cover for itself. And then the watch presents itself. So this is the watch that I went with. It is their GMT Adamascus ADX 120 True GMT is the specific model that I got. And let's take her out, shall we? Now, again, I did take this watch out prior. You're going to see that because I did already size it to my wrist because I do want to show you guys what it looks like on wrist. And as we talk about my wrist, I forgot to do a wrist check. So let's do this and show you guys what's on wrist. So on my wrist is the SKX, is the Seiko SRPE 05. Thanks to you guys, I was able to decide on how I wanted to modify this. I took off the candy bar, I put in a ceramic green bezel, and the wife actually gave me the nickname for the watch. She has called this modification Clove Lakes. That's where we got married. There's a lot of trees there, there's a lot of greenage, and there's a lake that's actually green as well. So I thought that that was the perfect name for it. Back to the scheduled programming. So in the unboxing, of course, we have a nice thank you card with a QR code on there. This is to keep moisture out. We have some tags that I removed from the watch itself that was on the watch. They give you a cleaning cloth that is branded, normal stuff that we get here. Their warranty card is actually pretty nice. Nice little effect there, right? So we have the warranty card in itself. I know you guys are not here for that, but this is going to be important later on in the program for their actual links. We'll talk about their links in their bracelet. Extra special on how they do things there. Aside from that, a couple more things, yada, yada, yada. You guys want to see the watch. I know. Scott, show us the watch. Show us the watch, bro. That's what we came for. So this is the True Traveler GMT Miyota 9075. True Travelers, fantastic watch. I'm going to give you guys the details and the breakdowns for it all together. Okay, so the specifications for this bad boy, it's going to be 40 millimeters and has a lug-to-lug of 47.3. That's what I got on my calibers. On their website, they say it's 47.5. Somebody's wrong, but maybe it's not me. Maybe it is. Lug width of a strap-friendly 20 millimeters. The crown, which I always like to give you guys the dimensions for that. Let's get this closer, yeah? The crown is 6.5 millimeters. That's important. Always, we have some branding on there. We'll get into that. We have a nice beefy crown, easy to grip. The crown guards are not covering it too much, so we are going to have easy access. And that, for me, because it's a mechanical watch, is super important. Water resistance of 200 meters, which is also nice. It's a GMT Traveler watch, so do you have to go all the way to 200 meters? Not necessarily so. Some companies actually do a timing bezel when they have inner GMT time on the inside of the dial like this. But we're getting effectively another GMT time on the bezel in the bezel insert. Therefore, we can track 3 time zones. The weight on the watch head alone is 75 grams. The bracelet is another 75 grams. So therefore, you effectively get 150 grams. The entire watch, by the way, is 904L stainless steel. So if you don't have 904 stainless steel in your collection just yet, for me, I'm always looking for something that's going to add to my collection that's different, that's offered in other watches. 904L stainless steel, I don't know. I have some heavy hitters in the chat. Ben 10, how are you? Let me know what other watch enthusiast brand does 904 stainless steel. I don't know. I don't know personally. So that is very unique already in itself. Therefore, I was already interested in getting that type of material. Tim Cheeseman is in the building. So 904L stainless steel is what we're going to get entirely. The movement, again, is the Miyota 9075. That's a True Traveler's 28,800 beats per minute, 48 hours of power reserve. It has an accuracy stated by the factory of plus or minus 10, minus 10 seconds to plus 30 seconds a day. Now, this bad boy, I put it on the time graph. I had it crowned to the right. I only tested it in one position. Therefore, I got a reading of -5. And when I left it on the time graph for a while, I want to say a half an hour, it zeroed out. It zeroed out. So that was really, really amazing. It pretty much went to 0 plus or minus. It was at 267 degrees amplitude, 0 beat error. Fantastic. So super reliable. Normally, when you get either a Seiko movement or you get a Miyota movement, at least in my experience, I've always gotten something better. It is kind of a luck in the draw to get something that's going to be 0 seconds a day or even -5 seconds a day as it stands. Yes. So the bracelet. We're going to spend some time talking about the bracelet because that's where all the money is. I'm going to see what you're saying in chat so I don't get too far ahead of myself. However, wait until I transition to different things if you have a question about the watch, because I don't want to miss that. But I do want to say hi to the people that are in chat. So Ben 10, I did say hi to you. What's going on? The brown looks cool on that bezel. Yeah, it's fantastic, man. That's the one. And they let me choose the one that I want to go with. That's the one that intrigued me the most. And there were other things that we'll talk about as well. The watch looks great. Thank you, Jose. Let's see. Looking at spinning those specs. Hey, man, it takes practice. It takes practice. Now we're here. So going back to the watch, yes? So those are the specifications. I'm pretty sure you're happy with that because, again, it was a True Travelers. Let me get that comment off here. The bracelet. The bracelet is something to spend some time with. So the bracelet, again, the entire watch is 904L stainless steel. Now, what that means technically is that it's more resistant to corrosion, right? So 904 is favored for applications like heat exchangers, chemical processors, and seawater environmentalists, or better used in a watch would be saturation diving when you're exposed to those kind of elements for a long period of time. So it has superior corrosion resistance, which is crucial in that aspect. 904 offers a higher polish finish, which we can appreciate on the center links of the bracelet itself. We have vertical brushing on the sides of the bracelet. So let me get a little bit closer. So 904L, it allows you to have a better finish when it comes to polishing specifically. That's why we're getting so much polishing on the middle. I know that there are some enthusiasts that are going to say, hey, you know, this is going to have a lot of fingerprints on it. It's going to take a lot of scratches, but it makes sense for them to flex the muscles of polishing on this type of watch specifically, because 904L is going to provide a higher polish. So I think that they were reserved outside of the bracelet when it came to that, but it makes sense for them to utilize that more so than not, if that in fact gives that kind of feel and aspect to itself. Yes? Solid end links, they're flush to the case, super flush, right? So we barely see any spacing when it comes to it all together, right? There's a lot of attention to details when it comes to this watch, and that's something that you're going to take away by the end of this live, if I must say so myself. Quick release. So we are getting quick release here at the lug attachment, okay? It has a milled clasp, obviously, as you can see here. It has branding on the inside of it. So here it says since 2008, which what I told you guys is when they started. And then on the other side of it, let's see if I can get it to come up on camera. It's a Thailand watch. They're very proud to be a Thailand brand. And you see here, it says SS904L, just so you know what you're getting all together when it comes to this bracelet. Engravement on the clasp itself, right? We have engravement here. Now, here's the maturity of the brand itself. All of this is brushed, right? All of this is brushed. However, there is polishing towards the edge of it. Let me wipe this off so it looks a little bit better so you guys can see. So here's the maturity of the brand. Clearly, this is going to be the highest point of contact when you're wearing the watch, but they still wanted to outline the clasp itself. It has a nice branding on it. Push deployment, which is also polished, just to stick on theme with that split kind of decision for the polishing and brushing itself. Fantastic. So with the clasp itself, we are getting on-the-fly adjustment, right? So we have quick release and we get the on-the-fly adjustment. So if you have thermal expansion, you could expand her out. It's just that pull kind of system, very easy to use, no fuss, gets the job done. has very good tolerance to that mechanism itself. So fantastic clasp altogether. So I thought that was also impressive, right? Having that polishing go in around the entire clasp itself. As you can see here, again, let me get rid of the smudges just so you guys get a better view. So we have that polishing right on the edge here. Everything is very, very smooth out. Now, one thing that I noticed when it comes to clasp, when it comes to finishing, when it comes to having that rounded off kind of feel, normally a clasp is sharp here and here, these 2 points. This is very, very smooth. They did a very good job with the finishing. In fact, there's no rough edges on the entire bracelet itself. The links on the edge here are polished and they are very smooth too. This feels like a very luxurious bracelet altogether. The bracelet, so here's the deal, man. Here's what floats my boat. Here's what floats my boat. Let me see what you guys are saying on chat. Let me start from the bottom. I love the engagement with the on the bracelet. Yes, I have to get a Wise now. I might convince you to add something to your collection here. Planning to visit them next time I am in Bangkok. Yes, man, you have to visit them. And there's been a lot of people who've traveled and visit. They have kiosks, they have a store, they have a very good experience when they do so. If you are going to travel, I definitely recommend visiting them in person. They are trying to get to wind up. I did say that if I cross anybody who has the say to give them an answer about coming to wind up, I would love to see them at the New York show for sure. But getting back on theme, what really floats my boat about the bracelet, it's 100% toolless. So not only are you getting a 904L steel that you don't normally get in most watch enthusiast brands, but the bracelet is 100% toolless. You don't believe me? No problem. Let's bring up that camera again. So let's take this out. My extra links. I don't need this. So we have the extra links in here. I want to show you exactly how this bracelet works when you want to make adjustments. So here are the extra links that are completely covered in plastic. So I can't show that. I think I have a link here. This is even better because this is a solo link. Okay. So here is the actual, what do you call that? Like a split pin, if you will. Normally it would be a screwed in pin or it would be a split pin with Wise. Instead, it's settled into it permanently. And all you have to do is pull one side of the link, right? So you're pulling this link, you're twisting it, which exposes the actual pin in here, right? So then it's easily removed. When you have the size that you want adjusted for your bracelet, you're pulling this, you're twisting it, and it pops right in. What? Is that not fantastic? So quick release, on the fly adjustment, and the link adjustment to the bracelet itself. The watch's bracelet is 100% toolless. We don't see that in any other brand. We don't see 904L stainless steel. Again, the finishing is very supple for this bracelet because it's very smooth. I don't have any issues with this bracelet whatsoever. Now, there are some people that are going to say that this bracelet should have had a taper here and the clasp should have been a little bit smaller. That is a personal preference, in my opinion. For my wrist, I don't need that. But I understand why that would be more attractive. And if that's the only criticism that you can give for this bracelet, then they're doing something fantastic. What are you guys saying about it? Let's see. I might buy a Wise right now just because I like the engraving on the bracelet. Engraving on the bracelet. Ben 10, if you do what you got to do. But you need a tool still. You don't need a tool still. You don't need a tool still. So just so I can demonstrate this even more effectively, so you don't need a tool, right? Let's say I wanted to size this bracelet, right? So I would pull this out, I would twist this, and then I would pull this out, right? So then I would do the same thing for this link if I wanted to remove this link. Once this link is removed, I put the bracelet back together like this. Pull this link out, done. That's it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So you don't actually need a tool still, Mr. Jose. Santana is a brand bully. What? I'm not a brand bully, man. I got love for everybody. What are you talking about? This is what happens when you give a troll a wrench. So, moving on, shall we? That's not what I want to show. This is what I want to show. So, moving on, that's the bracelet. 100% toolless. Absolutely fantastic. Where do we go from here? I'm just mesmerized by that in itself, right? Where do we go from here? Let's go with the Caseback. The Caseback. Let's show that. So let's hit this quick release real quick. Done. Exhibition style Caseback. Sapphire crystal. Circular brushing on the outside. The edges have polishing. We have specification text within it. Engraving for the specs text, I mean. And from here, we could see a decorated custom rotor that says Damascus GMT. Matter of fact, let me get my assistant. Hold on. Here's my assistant. So hopefully you guys can see this. Here we go. Damascus GMT. We have the Wise logo. And then it says Thailand watch. And I believe this polishing on the rotor itself is actually Thailand as well. So we have a custom rotor inside of here. And again, still 200 meters. You're getting a sapphire crystal. There is AR coating within this as well, so you could really enjoy what you're seeing as far as the Caseback. While we're at this position, let's take a look at the posterior of the lugs. We can see circular brushing. Now that I have the bracelet off, I want to show you guys the attention to detail that we have here. Polishing on the inside of the case here where the bracelet attaches. That is attention to details. They don't have to do that. They don't have to do that, but they still did. And that's fantastic. That's fantastic for sure. So for the case itself, horizontal brushing on the side, no drilled lugs. We don't need them because we have the quick release. This is a satin-like finish. I want to try to capture this. This is ridiculous satin finish on here. I was really impressed. And another thing that I was impressed about is we have polishing along the edge here that wraps around the entire watch. So not only is it on the north and south side of the case itself, again, horizontal brushing is what we're getting here, but it wraps around the lugs, complete brushing here. You're going to see a lot of fingerprints. I do apologize, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. We have vertical brushing on the top of the lugs, but again, on the inside of the lug, brushing. We have, polishing. Brushing, vertical, polishing, horizontal brushing on the side of the case itself, and a super satin finish. Those lines are really, 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 really thin. So I was fully impressed. Let's take a look at the crown. We get a signed crown with the Wise logo on there. Fantastic. I do also like this. This dimension for the crown guards is different. Nicely high polished, right? But it's like a diamond-esque type of shape. That's fantastic for sure as well. So again, a lot of attention to detail is what we're getting out of this watch for sure. If you guys are chatting, I do apologize. I can only do one thing at a time. Let's talk about the bezel. So the insert, we're getting ceramic. There is loom in these inserts. We're getting a BGW9 loom inside here. Again, we have some polishing for the actual bezel itself. Very, very nice. Great detail in the knurling. A lot of good depth for a very good grip. That's 72 clicks. It's bidirectional. It's bidirectional, right? So a very good grip on that as well. Knurling is very good. Snappy and perfect tolerances for it as well. So I can twist this like this where I'm moving the watch, but the bezel is not moving itself, right? But it's very confident in the positions that it wants to be when you're clicking it in. So they did a fantastic job for that bezel. The highlight of it, and something that you guys said in the beginning, is the color that they displayed on here. I found that this color was the most attractive in my opinion, so that's the one that I went with. They have several colors. We will go onto the website so you guys can see the full line. Also, just so you guys know, There's a link in the description so you guys can see the watch that we're looking at here. And there's also a link where they have their website in general too. So if you guys want to take a look at that while you're following along, for sure. Skylar, on that brown, you know it's Friday. And you know this, man. Let's go back. Bezel insert is good, man. Good quality. Good quality for sure. I didn't find anything wrong with it. Bi-directional clicks. Very, very confident when it gets into place. Again, if I go like this, it doesn't want to move. I'm holding the watch down, and it clicks into place and stays there very, very confidently. And again, you're getting a GMT bezel insert, right? So you're effectively getting 3 time zones. You have the indices itself, you have the GMT inner ring here, and then you're getting another time zone that you can track on the outside. Fair enough? The hands. Also BGW9 that you're getting on the hands itself. So BGW9, you're getting the blue BGW9 except for the hour hand. You guys are going to see pictures of that on the website. So this hand itself, which is good because when you're setting a GMT hand, as I should demonstrate, right, you have that quick time change with the hour hand itself, right? So you can kind of tell and see which hand that you're looking at when you're looking at the time if you are in a nocturnal setting. So this one has a green glow for the hour hand. The entire watch, the indices, the rest of the hands, including the second hand, and this bezel insert is also going to have BGW9 lume for sure. They have pictures of it on the website if you want to check that out. We will check out the website and those pictures as well. I love this too. Not for nothing. Something that tickles my fancy with Wise is how they've decided. Now, this is more of a cathedral size, a type of hand, but as you can see, it is shaped in a very different way that's kind of exclusive to what they do. And then you guys could see some different hour hands that they use for other watches as well. So I like that they separate themselves as well. We all know what this kind of simulates, what feel that you get from what brand, but there's enough difference that we're not going to call this a clomage for sure, maybe a homage, but I think that they have some aspects of the watch where it separates itself for sure. The dial is a sunburst. We have applied indices, so you guys can see the depth of the actual indices itself. On this model in particular, we have rose gold trimming for the indices, BGW. I wouldn't be surprised if the lume is 15 layers. It's very good. It lasts throughout the night. I've tested it already. Fantastic application. You'll find no qualms with that if you're a lume guy for sure. So this one in particular is a sunburst gray dial. It has an aperture at the 6 o'clock. So again, another thing that leans into that watch enthusiast brand is we have the aperture at the 6 o'clock where we like to have it so like that it's more uniform. It also has that rose gold trimming, but it's also gray. It's hard to see in the camera to pick up the color itself, but that's a gray background for that sunburst gray dial. So attention to detail for sure. I like that they did that. They decided to do that to match it up. So the GMT track, you could also see that within the inside of the dial. We have the GMT track that you're going to follow for your home time, right? When you're working with a true traveler, you set the GMT hand to your home time. This way you can manipulate the hour hand. And then you also, again, have this bezel insert for an additional third zone if you want to. The rehaut, which is going to be hard for me to pick up here, but the rehaut also has a satin-like brushing. Like everything matches. They didn't cheap out when it comes to doing the finishing on the actual rehaut itself, which is just a fancy way of saying the inside here of the watch. After the dial itself, after the indices, you have the wall on the inside of the watch. That's also satin-like brushed. And again, it's going to be hard for me to pick that up, but fantastic finishing, attention to detail for sure. Again, lume, BGW9 on the hands, BGW9 on the indices, BGW9 on the bezel insert, right? So let me pull myself up and let me see what you guys are saying in chat. And threats a lot of travelers. Yeah, man. Eric Mack, you're not wrong, dude. This is a very dangerous watch for a lot of brands that are bringing true travelers to the market. For all of the things that I've stated already, you're getting a lot of bang for buck is is like the definition of wise. Is a lot of people, a lot of watch enthusiasts told me that the value that they're getting out of the watch is the biggest reason why they love it so much. There's definitely a vibe of that for sure. But again, I feel like there's enough in it to separate itself. Everything with the moving bezel. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Raymond D is in the building. So now I have access to links. Easy access. I might have. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, sir. I think I know I might have missed some stuff, but I wanna get through this. I've considered this watch for the past few months. Then Skylar Unbox comes on my feed. My bank account may hate you. Hey, listen, man, I want you to purchase responsibly regardless. I'm not a guru, I'm a guide. But at the end of the day, Mr. Mackin, you're not going to be mad. Your bank account might be mad. Your wife may give you a little, I'll get a little agitated. But at the end of the day, dude, you're not going to regret this. Dude, 904L, toolless bracelet, attention to detail that I showed you guys on the, I mean, come on now. What we talking about? And if you need a GMT in your collection right now, like if you don't have a True Travelers, just saying. I'm trying to enjoy watches that I have. Here comes the watch. Yeah, for sure. All right, so where do we want to go from here? Well, I want to demonstrate this watch on wrist for you guys, so I have to put the bracelet back on. So if you have any comments, please state them now. Any questions, concerns, especially about what we just went over. And then we're going to do a website audit, because if you are a watch enthusiast brand and your business is being online, then it's important that you have an effective website. And not only do I like to take a look at the watches itself, I also like to take a look at the websites, not only in its looks and interaction, because that's important, but also what are the things that you're stating on the website? Are you missing any details that I think that you should have? You guys can agree with me. You could not agree with me, because I think it's important to list some certain things, especially if your market is really nerdy people like you and I, because we look for things like crown dimensions. Yes, I think that's fair. So I want to show you guys this watch on wrist. I don't think it took me too long, but the pressure's on, baby. I'm live. So let's get this going on wrist. And I want to show you guys. Now I have a 7¼ inch wrist. There are some highlights that I want to show you guys while it's on wrist for sure. So 7¼ inch wrist, again, 12.5 for the thickness. So down the barrel, you can see it's pretty flush to my wrist as it stands. Now, what's important here for me to show you guys is the drop off, right? So female end links, very nice drop off. So even if you have a smaller wrist width, it'll still drop off very, very nicely. Let me show you that off my wrist again, just to show you exactly what we're talking about. So I think that this is fantastic where it drops off. You see how it hinges down? It's right at the end of that lug. So I think that that's a fantastic drop off. And again, super duper flush to the watch itself. And then now that I stated it before, you can appreciate this finishing, this polishing finishing on the inside, because then effectively it's wrapped around the entire lug. Yeah, I get it, man. I get why you guys are getting tempted during this live. That's absolutely fantastic. Listen, man, I heard a lot of good things about Wise. I did take some time to like really experience this watch so I can talk to you guys like this about it. It is fantastic. It is fantastic. It really is standing out altogether. So 7¼ inch wrist, that's the way that it looks. Got that caramel-like color to match the caramel-like wrist, and sits on there very nicely. Completely toolless bracelet, as I said before. I mean, come on, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. What are we talking about? Mr. Advertise. Dude, you know what? How let me ask you this, Travis, since you want to be a troll today. Yeah, I'm pointing my finger at you. How else am I going to talk about this watch where it doesn't sound like an advertisement? I'm excited about it. I'm enthusiastic about it, legitimately. I didn't know before the watch came in I seen it on a lot of wrists. A lot of people talked about it, but dude, it's not. I'm sorry if it sounds like an advertisement, but I truly am excited about the watch altogether. Just saying. You can purchase aftermarket bracelets with those same style links, adjustment system. I'm just saying they're out there. Yeah, dude, for sure, for sure. I by no means think that they were reinventing the wheel. However, Lone Ranger, I haven't experienced somebody offering it with the watch at the price. We didn't get to that yet, but we will. Get picky and what would you change? Let me go to my notes. Because I'll tell you what, man. What would I change? I'll tell you what, man. I'll be honest with you. I watched reviews on this watch. I watched people, and here's the deal. I don't want to just say something because I feel like, because I'm unafraid on both sides. Let's be clear here. I'm unafraid, Jose, to say something about a watch that the brand won't like, for sure, because I don't care. There's plenty of efficiency. I'll go to another brand. There's hundreds out there. But I'm also not afraid to make myself have to give the watch a negative so I don't feel like I'm being biased. Does that make sense? I wouldn't change anything about the watch, honestly. I know that there are some people that said that the taper on the bracelet should have been a thing, right? And I get it. If you did the taper on the bracelet itself, it would look a little, but I like this masculine look to it, right? I like the thicker bracelet going straight down. I'm okay with the thicker clasp. I'm okay with it. Yeah. So if I were to change that, if I were to say I'm being very picky, I would change that aspect. It would only be because I know most people, I wouldn't say most people, but there are going to be a lot of people out there that would have liked to have that taper in the bracelet itself. Outside of that, dude, I would say this. I looked at the collection. We're going to look at that. I want to say that I would have liked more options, more color options to the dial, which they're starting to add already. Because here's something that I didn't say yet. Wise definitely listens to the feedback. I actually went on one of their last lives. Now, they speak in Thai when they do their live stream, so check out their channel. However, I said, you know what? Let me ask some questions while I'm on their live stream. And guess what? They do speak English, and they did answer my questions while I was on that live. And they specifically said, I specifically told them, hey, I'm okay with the taper of the bracelet, but there are some watch enthusiasts that have said the taper could be there and then the clasp could be smaller. And they said that we've heard that comment before, and we are looking to make some changes and get better every single time. So aside from that fact, how could I make this watch better? I'll tell you what, my opinion, you want me to get picky? I would say that, and I get why they did polishing here. I would say that you don't need that. But I also understand that 904 has a very good take when it comes to polishing, so that's why they did it on the bracelet links. But I would say that it's not necessary. I'm just happy that they didn't do it for the clasp. But that's what I would say. I would say just go straight brushing on the center, or I would even say flip it. Do the polishing on the side, do this brushing because this tends to get more contact, or just to go away and do full brushing altogether. Just have polishing on the edges to trim it, and then polishing on the very sides like they have still. So that's what I would probably change if I was being really picky. I changed this to brushing because I'm impressed with their satin-like brushing, right? So this would be brushed, and then I would keep this polished, and then I would have it trimmed with a polishing. That's my take on being very picky with it altogether, for sure. He said bingo. Hi, beautiful. He said bingo. Now tell the truth. Listen, man, but I'll tell you what. Do I have to change that? Would it stop me from purchasing a watch? No. But if I was being super picky, yeah, that's where I would go for sure. Karen from Top Tier Ticker rated Wise as one of the type micro brands just this week. I saw that video, and I know now why he made that claim for sure. And there's other names. I'm not going to mention it on this live because this live is all about Wise, but you guys know the names that I would say. Yeah, for sure, dude. After this GMT, and I'll tell you what, man, I do want to look at some more of their models for sure. I want to see where they're going from here. I want to see what happens next. Again, if you were on their last live stream, they showed a Panda mechanical chronograph. So they are still working. They are still moving forward. They are planning in a couple of years to do in-house movement. That's something they're interested in, or an in-house at least modification, like we see with some watch enthusiast brands. So they're working, they're listening. Of course, that's exactly why we're excited for watch enthusiast brands, because we know that they're on par with what we want. There's always going to be someone complaining about, yeah, of course. And because there's no such thing as a perfect watch, but there is a such thing as value for spec to the max. I think that the high polish equals scratch magnet. It will be a scratch magnet, and it will be a magnet for fingerprints. You're absolutely right. So let's take a look at the website. Let's pull that up. Where are we? Let's do this. Okay, so this is the website specifically for the Adamascus ADX True GMT. Here are the options that they have. This was a newer release. This has actual gold capping on it. So the price is way higher, but here's the price effectively for the watch that we've been talking about, okay? Now, if we're getting it on the actual bracelet, we're talking about $760. And then they also have a rubber option for $690, okay? Now, here's something else that you'll notice. You'll see these three colors on the bottom here. Well, if you pick one of the watches like this, you can effectively choose which GMT color that you want. So that's the strength that they have with hand assembling per order. You could choose whatever GMT hand that you want on the watch itself. And then leaning into what I said about the color, this is also something new. They're adding more color to the line. They're still letting you pick the GMT hand, but this is a purple color sunburst. It looks still fantastic. Here's a loom shot that I wanted to show you guys. So again, you can see here on this hour hand where it's green, and then the rest is that BGW9 blue that we're so used to. So that's exactly how it looks. Fantastic. Let's go back. So those are the options for this model specifically. Outside of this, what really tickles my fancy is, let me show you, men's. I think it was this. No, it wasn't that. Hang on one second. 80. With the numbers, it gets a little, it was this one. Yeah, but there was a specific one that I liked on here. I think I showed you guys this too before, but I want to also highlight this. Oh, here it is. Here's the watch. This is another one that I love. I love Shades of Thailand, Geneva stripes, burgundy dial, gold trimming on the indices, gold hands. Here's the hour hand that I told you guys. They give a very distinctive 200 meters. We have a gold plate on the outside. Blue, red goes together very well. They have their bracelet on here as well. This one's fantastic, man. And I'll tell you what, I would go with the Thailand numerals, which they're out of stock at the moment, but this is where I would go just to make it a little bit different than what's normally seen. Fantastic. So that's that. Let's go back. Men's. Let's go to here. That's their newer release that I was talking about. Price jump here, but again, 18 karat gold cap. That's the reason why you're going to get that. It's up to you if you find the value in it still, but you know that is up for debate at that point. I'm looking for where we were before. I guess we can continue to go back. Here we go. So yeah, here are the options that they have. They also have this blue. This is a nice color. So they added some color to this line itself. This was the first one, I believe, that they added the color to. So that's fantastic. Oh, here's something that I missed. They actually have an X for the 10 for the date wheel itself. So that's something that they do throughout all of their models that they have here. You got your traditional Batman style bezel. You guys are familiar with that. And that's it, man. $760. $760 is the price. Let me know right now in chat, how do you feel about the price point now that we know it? And I'll tell you what, you got to go with the bracelet. You got to go with the bracelet for the reasons that I told you guys before. You got to go with the bracelet. Different colorways. You have the green there. Fantastic. Fantastic watch for sure. Burgundy looks fire. Yeah, the burgundy does look fire for sure. I think that was the one that I might have asked them about, but they were out of stock or something like that at the time, but that's fine. We're going too far. Hold on. Yeah, the burgundy's very, very nice. Very, very nice. And all the construction is still the same with this. Well, that's very nice. So the one that I chose specifically, you don't have a GMT color hand that you can choose from because they matched it with the rose gold. So they made sense on there. Here's the X that I was talking about. Oh, okay, Jose, going back to what you were saying, what I would change. This is something that I would definitely change. And this is not me being a nitpicker. And Wise, if you're listening to this live stream, instead of saying Wise Adamascus here, I would just do the logo. I would just do their W logo. I would have that applied. That would match with the applied indices. It would give it more depth. If I was nitpicking, I would do that. Normally, we have some color on the GMT. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the text completely here, honestly. But I think that if we did an applied logo with the W, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Well, you could see their logo here, but you can also see it on the crown itself. Let's see if I could pull that up. Well, you see their logo here. You see their logo at the top. So that's something that I would change. I would just get away with this Wise Adamascus. I'd put an applied logo. I think you guys would agree with that for sure. Especially they have such a fancy W. I would definitely flex that for sure. Now, let's take a look at this. How do they list their specifications, right? That's also important. We're doing a full audit here. Specifications. So 40 millimeters, like I told you, sunburst gray, 904 steel, sapphire crystal front back, effectively a sapphire sandwich, ceramic, right? Bidirectional, like I told you, 20 millimeters, 200 meters, 904. So they're missing the crown dimensions, in my opinion. They're missing the lug to lug, right? Am I missing that? No, they're missing the lug to lug. I would add that there. I like that they give the description of BGW9, blue and the green. Again, I specifically told you that the green is derived from that hour hand. I would specifically state that, but you could kind of see if you have eyes. Pull twist, removable links. So they are stating that for sure. And yeah, I would state the lug to lug. They're missing that for sure. I would state the size of the crown itself because I think that's important. But let me see what you guys are saying in chat. Let me see if you agree with what I'm saying. Yeah, the logo and no words would be nice. So there you go. So there you go. I think that that's also the case as well, Jose. Pricing isn't bad at all. Christopher, for what you're getting altogether for sure, again, even for me having a collection of X amount of watches, and I do have a True Traveler, but I don't have 904 stainless steel. I don't have a completely toolless. The finishing, you guys are going to just have to take my word on the feel for the finishing. But I'll tell you this, altogether, this would be my definition of luxury for sure. That's what I'm going to go with. And I'm sorry if you think I'm paying favoritism, but I'm really not. All the attention and detail that we have within the watch when it comes to a watch enthusiast brand especially, highly impressive. And I get why it was rated by other people to being one of the top watch enthusiast brands. Almost slipped there. That thing looks slick, yeah. Santana for Wise Distribution President. Appreciate you, bro. So that's all I have, man. Let me take a look at the notes, make sure that I covered everything. 760, strong value proposition. They also offer free express international shipping. And that's all that I have, man. That is it. That's what I wanted to show you for this Wise watch for sure. Again, there are particular models that I definitely want to take a look at. I definitely want to take a look at that model that I showed you guys before. They have other models to go with it. I'll give you guys some time just to ask me any questions specifically before we sign off. But if we take a look at their collection as well, let's just look at new arrivals. Let's do that. So they have this Flyboy, right, which is a pilot style watch. This also looks fantastic. I like that oversized crown that they did with this as well. Oversized crown, oversized hand, triangle at the 12. It all makes sense, right, for a pilot watch. Now, I'll ask this question, right? What are they doing for their pilot watch? If I had to guess, and I haven't looked into it, I would guess 200 meters still. 100 meters. Okay. So that's fair. That's fair. That's right where I want to be for a pilot watch for sure. I was going to say that they were going to go even further and give it 200 meters, but guess what? Series 9, 28,000, 42 hours of power reserve as you're going to get out of it. 100 meters. That's not a bad watch neither. Flyboy. That's not a bad watch. Again, these are new arrivals for the colors. You guys said that this looks slick. I'm also a fan of this. They have meteorite, as you guys can see here. Let's see. And I think these are what? These are like standard divers. 200 meters. Yeah, 200 meters. Okay, so these are also considered their diver. And it looks super thin. I really hope that they have the thickness on here as well. That's another thing, man. They need to also list the thickness of the watch. That is probably more important. They have the lug to lug here, which is funny because they didn't have it before for the other watch. Am I missing it? 41 millimeters on a 220 meter lug width, 200 meters. Yeah, they're not putting the thickness in. This looks like a pretty thin watch. So that's a missed opportunity in my book. For sure, list the thickness of the watch. For sure. So they need a little bit of a touch up on specifications on what they're listing on their website. So if you're listening wise, please get down to that. That's something that's very important. Again, going on to here and looking at the specifications, I don't think that they also had the thickness on here. Lug to lug. Yeah, they didn't have the thickness listed as well. 12.5 is what I told you guys it is. So I think that they should also have that listed for sure. For sure. And 12.5 is a nice thickness, or thinness, I should say. Yeah, man. But I keep going back to this. This is my weakness. I so want to take a look at this watch. It looks fantastic. And I'll tell you what, when it comes to red dials, it's hard to get red done right. And Geneva stripes, 200 meters. I like the hour hand on here. Very, very different. Puts a little bit of a spin for it. Again, I would still remove this, put the logo, obviously size it correctly. At that point, maybe you don't need the automatic, just the 200 meters or 20 bar. Put the 20 bar. If you want to put automatic, but put 20 bar. Have your Wise logo on here. That's what I would do for sure. Let me see what you guys are saying on chat. And then guess what? The captain has put the fasten seatbelt sign on because we're going to land this plane. What are you guys saying on chat? What are you guys saying? What is the final word? How do you guys feel? Are you guys going to consider picking this up yourself? I want to know. I want to know. And I'll tell you what, man. This is going high up on the scale for sure. I agree with the logo. Thank you, sir. It'd be nice to see them at Windup. Yeah, Eric. So I don't know if you were here before, but I do want to get Wise to Windup New York. I say that like I got pulled. Here's the deal. If I come across, because okay, so the people who host the Windup Watch Fair in New York, they also have a shop. I'm planning to go to the shop. Maybe we'll go this weekend, babe. She said no. We got plans. She keeps me on point with the scheduling. We will eventually do a live to the Windup shop. Hopefully I can rub some elbows with the people there and just introduce myself to where, because I agree with you, Eric. I want to see Wise at Windup. There's a lot of enthusiasts that need to see their watches. This watch specifically, but I feel like that all their other watches are going to be impressive as well. So I do agree with you. And if I have any say or if I have any influence, I will do my best to try to get them in it. They have emailed Windup to possibly get a lemonade stand. There's a lot of moving parts, so they haven't got a definitive answer just yet. So I do agree with you. Where were we? I think it's a competitor for slightly cheaper prices, maybe the Islander. Again, I like that. But at the same time, I own an Islander True Traveler GMT. You're not getting the spec. You're definitely not getting the spec out of the bracelet. I love my beads of rice on my Islander. I love my Zelos. but you're not getting the full spec that you're getting, right? Maybe you don't care so much about the 904L stainless steel, but the toolless adjustment on the, you know what I mean? So they're all great watches at the end of the day. Come on, what are we talking about? They need to include the thickness. Yes, the thickness. I think the thickness on all their watches, because that is one of the most, after the lug to lug, because most people don't like overhang on their wrist. So after that, they want to see how the watch is going to sit on wrist. So I do think that the thickness for sure should be listed. The Pilot watch was fire. I do agree. If you need to pick alternatives, what would you recommend? Something cheaper and something more. Wait, what did you just say? If you need to pick alternatives, what would you recommend? Something cheaper and something more high end. Something more affordable. It's very easy. An Islander, right? Again, you're going to lose spec when you do that. Fantastic build. I have the watch. I love my Islander. I say that almost hesitantly, but it's true. The bracelet doesn't give the same effect. Aside from that, it comes down to just design. Higher end, I'll be honest, because I like to be honest, I can't speak out of experience for a higher end version of a watch, right? So some of you in chat have experienced two Traveler GMTs that are higher end. So I don't want to give a recommendation where I'm just throwing something against the wall, if that makes sense. But more affordable. I mean, I think the one that I got is around $600 too. So I don't know how much more affordable it really is, to be fair. Let me catch up on chat. I would rather see Wise at DC. I think they should go to both at this point where they're at. Because look, they're 17 years old. They're not young. I think that they've put a lot into. They have skin in the game. At this point, it just becomes about exposure because you've done all the things to do all the tweaks to make yourself better as a brand to fit into that watch enthusiast needs, the nerds. So at that point, especially if you want a stronger presence in the US, it's just about going to shows and showing the watches and let people be hands-on on the watches itself. So I think they need to do all the things. I don't think wind up is the only, you guys know that I talk about but the DC show, Philly show, wind up, the more shows, the merrier, the more coverage that you're going to get, the more watch enthusiasts you're going to experience. So I get why they want to go to the Super Bowl, but I do agree with you that they should also go to DC Watch Show. I believe Skylar has been bitten by the Wise horology bug. I have been, dude. I'm a tremendous fan already. It's an absolute fantastic watch. I got to see more from them. I got to see more from them for sure to really get the touch and feel type of thing. Toolish, yeah, the toolless bracelet is amazing for sure. I have the full Loom Hitman ADX GMT Shades of Thailand. I'm jealous. And the 89 waiting on. And I often talk about, it's very rare and very seldom where you find a brand where you can own almost all of the watch lineup and be happy with it. Wise is very dynamic, and they are definitely fighting for that seed for being a brand that you can own a lot of models from. And I could see somebody putting a full collection that has Wise watches for sure. I love that watch too, dude, for sure. I would only get a Wise Pilot. Hey, man, if you like it, I love it. The thickness is the diagrams. Oh, snap. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait a minute. You may be right. You may be right. Oh, there it is. Listen, I'm not the type of guy that can't admit his wrongs. Now, we still don't get the dimensions of the crown because I got to try to save face. But we are getting the thickness of the watch altogether. So thank you so much for letting me know that and putting things in perspective for me. So we are getting the thickness being showcased here. Sorry, I do apologize. Thank you for keeping me on point for sure. Also nice dress watches. Yes, they cover. And I'll tell you what, man. So there are also divers that they have that are 300 meters of water resistance. Okay, I didn't show you guys that on the website. You guys can have a field day going and skimming through it because we're gonna land this plane soon. but I do want to see what else you guys are saying here. And if you have any questions specifically about this model too, let me know. Thank you for putting me on point, brother. TJN, I do appreciate you. And if that's all you guys have, that's all I have for you. And I do appreciate you guys. This was almost a review. I also want to know, you guys are live here with me. Those of you who are watching on the playback, let me know how you feel. This is like, it's an unboxing, but I went through a lot of it specifically. Do you feel like this is a valid review? Do you prefer my recorded stuff and the B-roll and the hype, or do you prefer this kind of live interaction? I'm interested to know your feedback for sure. Let me know how you feel. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I do appreciate you guys for coming on this live stream. And I want to end off like this. Travis, I hope you're listening. It all started with a watch. And I'll see you guys on the next live stream when the lightning strikes. Y'all be blessed.